Hello everybody, it's Rick. It's November 1st already, 11/1/2016. Alright, this video is it's like a how-to video. How to, if you're one of these people at work, if you work for a city agency or something, your job is probably protected. If you work for a private agency, you probably should tread lightly. You don't want to be fired over this. But what you want to do is you want to notify your employer to stop sending your property to child support. Because what they do is they get these income withholding orders and they look like court orders when they're not. And what you're going to do is you're going to notify them that it's not a court order. If you have to, you're going to show them that there's no judicial signature anywhere. And what you're going to do is you're going to prepare a letter like this. And you're going to, on the top left corner, to whoever your employer is. And you can put your employer and you can put C/O care of payroll. You put from your name and address, title, cease and desist. And then you can add, sending my property to anyone other than myself, or anyone other than, and you use your name. All right. It has been alleged that you put your name, owes a debt for child support. Please be advised that I do not, and please cease and desist from sending my property anywhere unless you can produce a copy of a warrant from a court of competent jurisdiction. Please be advised that my property cannot be seized unless by a warrant signed by a judge or clerk of the court. This is pursuant to the Fourth Amendment. That's the Fourth Amendment of the Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution, which everybody who's born in this country or naturalized is protected by, and you're protected by the 14th Amendment as well. So you could also put in there, the 14th Amendment protects me, you, from a state, depriving you of rights such as the Fourth Amendment, which says that your property cannot be seized unless by a warrant. That's the same warrant if they were to come to your home. They believe it or not, they need a warrant to search your vehicle, and they certainly need a warrant to take property from your paycheck, which is what they're doing now. How they get away with it is this is how you know it's a scam. It's all hearsay. A family court issues an order, and who do they send it to? They don't send it. You notice how they don't send it to your job? That's the way it's supposed to be done. It's called a chain of evidence. Okay? So they're supposed to send it to your job, telling your job to send property to the child support agency. So, you know what they do? They send an order to the child support agency telling them to collect your property. Okay? And that's not right, because the child support agency never took you to court and never petitioned you to pay a debt. So we know right there something's wrong. Okay, so it doesn't go pursuant due process. So if somebody owes property, you're supposed to go to court. That's why I have all these television shows like the People's Court and stuff like that. You're supposed to go to court. You have a disagreement with somebody over a debt or whatever, and you go to petition a court. You bring forth the evidence and the argument in the court, and somebody makes a decision. Except in this instance, what we have is family court saying, so-and-so owes money for child support, so I'm going to order the child support agency to collect it. Why don't they just tell your employer to send the property to the child support agency like they're supposed to? That's the way it's supposed to work. So we know right now there's something wrong. So we're going to continue here. So you're going to tell your employer the Fourth Amendment states that only a warrant can take your property. All right? An agency is not a court of law. That's another thing. And you're going to put here, now I have, it's on the same, in your letter, you're going to say the separation of powers doctrine forbids an executive agency from performing the duties and functions of a court within the judicial branch. Please cease and desist sending my property to anyone other than, and you put your name. And what you probably should do is go and get it notarized. And what you're doing is you're getting it on the record that you're objecting to this whole thing. And who knows, maybe you might get lucky and your employer stops, because, sometimes the threat of a possible lawsuit or whatever, I mean, don't put it in there you're going to sue them or anything, because you don't want to lose your job. I'm not, want anybody losing their jobs over this, but maybe, you might get somebody to actually use their noggin to think. And, maybe you could speak to it, because nothing's going to happen to them. That's the thing. Here's the beauty. A child support agency cannot fine them. They're not a court of law. Okay? So an agent the child support agency is no different than the parking agency or any other transportation agency. You don't see, for parking tickets getting sent to your job, right? No, because they can't. But because as I said in my last video, everybody's got their fingers in the till. They're getting money. They're all getting money. The state's getting money. So every state agency, county agency, city agency, they're all cooperating with each other because the money all goes to the right place, the one place, the state treasury. I mean, they make billions. Got to be billions on this. All right, now another thing we're going to do is wherever you live, you're going to find out the sheriff's department that, knows, maybe you've already been contacted by the sheriff. Yesterday I told you in New York City, this is what I want everybody that watches my videos and you live in New York City, if you feel that they're taking your property illegally and they're not doing, you're going to notify the sheriff's department. Okay? Now the sheriff's department, they get money also. They're contracted with the federal child support enforcement agency. So they're getting money as well. So right then and there, we already know they're not fair and impartial, and they're less likely to perform a fair investigation because they're getting paid too. So they're the ones who are issuing this nonsense, telling me, "Hey, come down to our office," like I'm an idiot. Yeah, I'm gonna go down there. So you're gonna notify the sheriff to take judicial notice of a fraud perpetrated against your name, your name apostrophe my property. Okay, a child support agency has been issuing documents ordering the seizure of your name property. Child support agency cannot issue a warrant. Only a court, and you can put down a court of competent jurisdiction, can perform this function. And what you could do is you can also throw in there the separation of powers doctrine to tell them. Everybody knows, watch my videos, I'm retired police, and most police are zeros, all right? They don't know anything about the law. They think everything that they're doing because somebody told them to do it is legal. You don't learn that it's illegal until you're in a court and you find out you're saying that you're on the stand sweating and some lawyer is asking you, "Well, officer, did you know that that's illegal?" "Well, my sergeant told me to do it." "Yeah, but he gave you an illegal order. I don't see the sergeant here." So anyway, I'm always blowing my nose. I'm sorry, guys. So you're gonna say, "I require the sheriff's department," you put the sheriff's department's name there, "to investigate and order the child support agency and you put cease and desist." I was running out of paper. And then you're going to say that if the child support agency alleges that I owe a debt, they are to petition the court pursuant due process to seize my property for an alleged debt. Because what they're doing is they're doing like I told you. Remember, the family court is ordering them to collect the debt. And they just, they're creating this debt out of thin air, by the way. So you're going to say, I require the sheriff's department to order the child support agency to cease and desist issuing documents, your name seized. Issuing documents, you can put down issuing documents that are purporting to be warrants ordering your property seized. You put your name seized. And what you should do in this is say, you should provide proof. Remember, you're going to go to the clerk's office, or you go to the clerk's office. I also encourage you to do it by mail, so you have actually documentation coming from the clerk's office. I did a Freedom of Information with the Unified Court System, looking for the orders for family court. All right, and they didn't have it. All right, so right here I have proof that there's no record of it with the Unified Courts. Also, in New York State, it's the 255 judiciary law. In whatever state you're in, just do a little bit of homework. It's not hard. Just keyword it. Looking for just put in what law. What is the law that permits me or someone to get records of court documents or court orders, and the law should come up somehow in Google. You'll find it. All right. You're also gonna cite a United States code. Now, remember, I told all of you that all of these court orders, and so are these supposed child support orders, they're supposed to have a judicial signature. Remember, there's a box on that income withholding order for a judicial officer issuing. Now, whoever the issuing should be signed by somebody, or at least the person who ordered it, but it's always blank, because I told you they can't put that person in there because that they'll be guilty of committing a crime. Criminal impersonation of a judicial officer. A support magistrate in New York State is not a judicial officer, so that's a crime right there. But anyway, 28 U.S.C. Section 1691, it requires writs, court orders or writs, from a court to be signed by a clerk. All right, remember I told you about a case law, and you can put the case law in there. It's called SCANB, SCANB, Manufacturing Company versus... Damn, I forgot. I'm going off the top of my head. You just keyword that, it'll come up. And it states that all court orders without a judicial signature are void. All right? A void judgment has no legal power. That's what a void judgment, if you look up void judgment, the definition of a void judgment, it has the appearance of an order, but it's lacking the requirements. All right, what requirement are we lacking? The signature of a clerk. All right? And this, by doing this letter, you don't have to write this. This is for you. This will be a record that you properly notified authorities, and you're getting the ball rolling. I told you guys, right now they stopped taking my property, and they'd still be stealing my property right now if I didn't do that writ of quo warranto back in August, and I finally got in front of the judge. And it takes several steps. You could do a lot of this stuff yourself. So I'm telling you, a lawyer won't do this. I'm telling you. Real quickly, I became friendly with a guy who works in the family court, who's a lawyer, and he's but he's burnt out. He's shot, and he won't do half this stuff for me. That's why I don't talk to him anymore. I'd get on the phone with him, and he started telling me all his problems. I'm calling him looking for help, and he's telling me all his problems, which is hysterical. It's like going to a bartender, and the bartender's telling you his problems. But anyway, he's like beat up. He's like, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. It would help if a lawyer does it, because they got to listen to you at some point. But they're not going to do it. That's the point that I'm trying to make. They're not going to do it. So you got to do it yourself. All right, I hope this helps somebody. You want to leave in the comments section. I'll help anybody out. You guys take it easy.